Hey, welcome to the Nursing Dose with your host, Dr. Farah Laurent. I'm so excited to be on today. The countdown is on to the Nurses Making Business Moves Conference. For those who don't know me, I have been going live for the last 4 years. I've been a nurse for 20 years, and I started my nurse career coaching business about 4 years ago and started this conference, Nurses Making Business Moves, since last year. The previous year was called Nurses Making Money Moves. Now it's called Nurses Making Business Moves. And I've also been featured on the Jennifer Hudson Show for the work that I do with new graduate nurses, helping them land their dream role in less than 90 days and helping them make six figures. Did you guys hear that? Making six figures, getting their dream role in less than 90 days. And I'm talking getting into the ICU, the emergency department, labor and delivery, and all of those great things. So, quickly, like I said, the journey started in Canada. I recently shared a post that, I immigrated to Canada when I was about 9 years old, didn't speak English, had to learn English, right? English as a second language. And quickly made my way up to nursing. I always knew I wanted to be in healthcare, and went into nursing. Nursing school was, great. Had some obviously ups and downs because nursing school is not that easy. And then in my last rotation, I had one really cool instructor who was an ER nurse, and I always looked up to her, and I was like, I want to be an ER nurse. And I had another instructor who was not so helpful, and she actually laughed in my face and said, "You will never be an emergency nurse." And that really stuck with me. And in my head, I was like, okay, lady, watch me. Not only will I get into the emergency department, I promised myself when I later would have experience, I would then become a mentor, a coach, an educator that inspires the next generation of nurses. And that's exactly what I did. I got 2 offers. I picked the trauma hospital, worked in Canada for 5 years, and then moved to New York City to pursue travel nursing. So loved it. I worked in a bunch of different hospital systems in New York City, and some other places around as well. But I always loved nursing students and new grads. So always mentored, precepted, all the things. Then took me a while to get into some leadership positions and education. Although I did have all the board certifications, all the degrees, and I was highly qualified because I was very much a fierce advocate. Sometimes I just was not getting the particular roles, and not really playing the game right, or not really branding and positioning myself, you know, correctly, I guess, for what they wanted to see. So eventually I did get into some educator roles. I became a clinical instructor, later, an educator for multiple units. And I always, loved educating the new grads. So then, of course, later went into some educator roles as the director of education, both in a clinical setting and in academia. Earlier today, I shared a post on LinkedIn about my first layoff ever. And it was truly like a slap in the face, right? I was in the doctorate program, my DNP. I was working full time as the director of education. I had 2 kids. My daughter was literally just about to she had just turned 1. And unfortunately, very traumatic experience. She ended up in the hospital. Not going to get into details, but in the hospital, she was there for about a week, and I was exhausted. I was there, worried, emotionally distraught, all the things. And then it was time for me to go back to work, right, as the director. And I was pretty new in this role. And as I mentioned in the post, there was a lot of, expectations, a lot, let's just be real. Some of these roles that you get into, some of them support you and they have great orientation, and it's wonderful. But then sometimes you don't always get that. Sometimes there's no support. It's like, hey, here's like a system-wide orientation. Here's a directory. Here's some phone numbers, a one-on-one here and there with the chief nursing officer, and then a whole slew of things to do. So it was pretty overwhelming. But I was doing it. I was working it, hired 2 new educators. And then I got called one day in the middle of my education meeting. I had, I think, a bunch. Like I had just hired 2 educators, 1 med surg, 1 critical care. I had 2 I had about 5 educators probably all in one room. And then I get a phone call. They're like, "Hey, Farah, come to the C-suite for a minute." I was like, "Oh, I'm busy, doing this education meeting. Can it wait?" And they're like, "No, it's just going to take a minute." So I go over there and literally I sit down. They're like, "Yeah, have a seat. We just want to talk to you about something." They're like, "Yeah, so your position's been affected and we're restructuring." And I'm like, "Okay." And I was like, "When is this happening? Like, what's the time frame?" And they're like, "Oh, effective now." And I was like, "Oh, like now. And they're like, "Yeah, right now." So they're like, "So you can clean your office out or we can do it for you. And don't forget to leave your badge before you leave." And then I was like, wow, like it's like that. I was like, this is what it is, right? And literally, I had to walk down the hallway back into the meeting with all the educators. And I was like, so yeah, this is my last day. And they're like, what? And they're all confused. And one just broke out. The new one that I had just hired started crying. One of the educators. It was just a lot of confusion and uncertainty. And then the CNO calls one of them. She doesn't call me. She calls one of them just to tell them like next steps. And I was like, okay, cool. Packed up all my stuff, took all my degrees, all certification, put it in a box, threw it in the Jeep, and then home I went. Right. And then I had to break the news and all that. And then the next day, I was like, wow, I could just sit around and feel sorry for myself, or I can take action and start creating more. At this point, I had been in business for a year, right, as a nurse career coach. And to backtrack, I started that business as a nurse career coach while I was still working full time as a director, in school full time in the DNP program. My daughter was just a few months old, and my son was 4 years old. So, of course, it was just me and my husband. We didn't have much help because my family was back in Canada. So, I understand being, you know, raising a young family, having young kids, and you might think like, oh, I don't have time to start a business. I'm working. I got this, I got that. But I was so glad that I actually started this business, because you think that you have job security as a nurse. Think again. As we see, there's a lot of things going on in the job marketplace, politically, socially, right? Nothing is certain. So many people have gotten laid off. A bunch of nurses in New York City right now are on strike because of the working conditions and the pay and all these things. And nursing just has been a profession that I feel like I love the profession. It's great. I'm always advocating for people to get into nursing. And there's so many options for us. And this is why I want to talk to you today about, if I could start a business, being a busy mom, working full time, going to school full time, all at the same time. If you have the drive and the vision and you want to make an impact and do something bigger, you can. If I can do it, you can do it too. But this is what I want to present to you. You don't have to do it alone, right? I spent countless hours, days, weeks, months listening to podcasts, reading business books, following marketing experts, like, um, Gary Vee, Alex Hermosi, Layla Hermosi, um, all these people. And in these 4 or 5 years, I've learned a tremendous amount. And it's not just about learning, right? Entrepreneurship and business is about doing and taking action. Yes, you can have all the information, plan all you want. It's like riding a bike. You can read about riding a bike all day, every day. But if you don't actually get on the bike and try to learn how to ride it, it's never going to happen. So, this is what most nurses do. A lot of nurses fantasize about starting their own business, whether it's consulting or coaching or having something on the side. You don't necessarily have to quit your job. I didn't quit my job when I first started. I still worked and built the business. How did I do it? I did it late nights because that is what worked for me. When my kids were sleeping, my husband was sleeping, I was up late creating content, going live every single week, creating offers, learning about business. So that time frame at night was when I ran the business. When I had, for example, a lunch break, I would take client calls literally on the phone on my lunch break. And then I would take calls on the weekends or after work. And then again, I would go live like I'm doing live right now every single week for 4 days for 4 years. And people are like, "Oh, how did you get to, almost 33,000 on LinkedIn? Like, how did you do that?" Consistency, being committed, right? So this is what I'm saying. This is why I've built the platform, Nurses Making Business Moves, because there's nothing like this out there. It's not your typical conference, it's a movement. It is designed for nurses and open to others. It's not just for nurses who are interested in business. If you're a healthcare professional, you don't have to be a nurse. You could be a respiratory therapist, a tech, pharmacist, physician, whatever. We actually had physicians last time who came and spoke. Shout out to Dr. Enchem. She's an emergency physician. She's now in real estate and investing. I'm trying to get her to come back. So if you're watching Enchem, Dr. Enchem, I want you to come through. She's, I think, based out of Nashville. So we had physicians who came, people in marketing, finance, people from everywhere. And that's the thing that's different. It's not just nurses. It's nurses and other industries coming together. And I was very intentional about building this because nurses need to learn from other industries, especially in business. So we have speakers coming internationally from the UK, attendees coming from Canada, all the way from Australia, and representation from all across the US. Last year, we had 20 different states represented, and also Canada was there. So I invite you to attend. Don't let fear stop you. Don't let boundaries, get in the way. Even if you are in the UK or in Canada, one of my mentees just got a ticket last week and is coming from British Columbia. Like, you can come, take a plane, invest in yourself, take action, take the leap, because if you don't do anything, inaction is you making a decision. So start investing in yourself and be in community with other nurses and other entrepreneurs or aspiring entrepreneurs who want to, build a brand, build a community, make an impact. And you can't do it alone. Yes, in the beginning, you can try to figure it out, but the growth is going to be a lot slower. If you come to the Nurses Making Business Moves, your business, the ideas, your mindset, everything will be a transformation, and the growth is exponential. You'll be surrounded with people that you can actually ask questions to. You'll have access to business owners where you can actually ask in real life your questions instead of just putting it in Google, right? You pay for proximity to be in this group, and the energy and the connections and the relationships that you make is not just at that conference in Tampa, Florida, right? It's March 6th and 7th. It's 2 days. It goes beyond that. There are people that are still friends from the conference, still collaborating, partnering, going on each other's podcasts. And that's just what it is, right? So yes, visibility is important. Impact, consistency is key. Thank you so much, Kimberly, for showing up. Thank you, Gwen, for coming through. I hope you guys can attend the conference. I have another meeting that's coming up soon, so I'm going to have to wrap this up. But my promise to you is I'm going to show up every single day this week and go live, potentially twice a day. Typically, I go live around this time, like 12:30 or 1 p.m. And then I may go live again later in the evening, like maybe around 6 or 7. So look out for more lives from me. Drop any comments or questions that you have in the chat. And actually, I have a special offer for you guys. If you guys DM me or email me at farrahlaurent1@gmail, I have an exclusive offer, a very special link for you to get a huge discount on your ticket, and it ends tomorrow at midnight, and this offer will never happen again. And you have to message me today though to get the link. And if you send me a DM, or I'm going to put my email later on so it stays, email me right now, and you have to email me before midnight. In fact, email me now. So I will send you the link once I get off. And if you're on Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, find me on LinkedIn and DM me on LinkedIn, because that's where I usually stay. So it's Farah, F like Frank, ARAH, LAURENT, the number 1 at Gmail. And if you're on TikTok, 'cause I know you guys are watching as well and listening, go to LinkedIn if you have a LinkedIn profile to message me, or simply email me at farrahlaurent1@gmail to get that special conference link. And again, the conference is happening March 6th and 7th in Tampa, Florida. And it's at the University of Tampa in their Entrepreneurship Center. How cool is that? In their actual Entrepreneurship Center. Okay. So shout out to Dr. White. She is the chair of the entrepreneurship program at the University of Tampa, and it's going to be at the John P. Loth Entrepreneurship Center. Super dope. I have Precious L. Williams coming back. She'll be a pitch competition host. We're going to have judges, and I'm going to release the finalists very soon. I'm waiting for one more, and I'm going to put it up on LinkedIn to show you who will be in the pitch competition. We have Veronica Safoa Owusu, who's going to be the keynote speaker, coming all the way from the UK, and it's going to be fire. She was my first business coach. Love her. She's amazing. Her energy is amazing. You guys don't want to miss out on this conference. And it's not your typical conference. It's fun. We have, DJ Riri, who's coming from Miami. She's a celebrity award-winning DJ. She was there last year. She's coming back again. We'll have the Friday, which is a networking dinner. This time it's longer. It's 4 hours. So people ask for more networking. So it's a 4-hour networking event. DJ Riri will be, on the 1s and 2s, keeping the vibes going. And there's going to be food and cocktails. It's going to be a great time. Again, at the University of Tampa in their Entrepreneurship Center. That's Friday. And then Saturday is the all-day conference, jam-packed with so many great speakers, both nurses and non-nurses, okay? We have Shaquana Chappelle. She'll be talking about executive presence. We have Trish Lindo, who used to work for LinkedIn, used to work for Oprah, content creator. She'll be talking about how to create content and the importance of creating content. And she also has the podcast, Too Ambitious. Shout out to her. We have Jennifer Zahurek. She owns an education company that she grew to 7 million in revenue. She'll be talking about how she took her business and grew it to 7 million, y'all. Okay, so you don't want to miss it. All right. So many great speakers. And of course, I'll be talking about personal branding and my journey. We also have panelists. So we have Dr. Danielle McCamey. Shout out to her. She'll be coming through, the founder of DMPs of Color. We also have Devin Patterson. She'll be talking about Search Tracker and the tech aspect. She's the founder of that app. So she's coming all the way from Oklahoma. Who else? We have Dr. Kwan, who will be talking about her journey and leadership, former veteran, all these things, right? And really advocating for women's rights and policy and everything like that. Amazing. And then last but not least, Dr. Kimberly Madison, my business bestie. She creates a lot of content around aesthetics. She also has a podcast. and she is very knowledgeable about business. So you don't want to miss out. Okay. Can I ask if you speak at the um you know, yeah, I definitely would be interested. I actually, before I got my DNP, I got the DNP scholarship for that, and I attended the gala in Queens. That was a couple years ago. But yeah, I would love to speak at any events, virtually or in person. I'm also a speaker. I speak a lot about nurse entrepreneurship, and also personal branding for nurses for career growth and business growth. So definitely reach out if you guys are interested, and reach out if you know somebody that would want to be a sponsor, or if you want to be a sponsor. If your business or brand wants to support women in business, if they want to support nurses in business or just nurses in general, this is your time to support, right? Take action. Message me if you are interested, or send me an email, or simply go to nursesmakingbusinessmoves.com. You'll see all the sponsorship packages that are available. And if you want something specific that's not there, just contact me and we'll make it work for you. Also, if you perhaps can't do one of those packages, but you love what I'm doing, you love the impact that I'm making, the content I'm creating, and the spaces I'm creating for nurses and entrepreneurs, you're also welcome to purchase a ticket for someone else who can attend. Maybe you can't attend, but you could purchase a ticket for someone else. We had a bunch of people do that last time, or you can simply send a donation. So contact me. We are still accepting sponsorship. And if you want a table, maybe you have a book to sell, you want to get your business out there, we have some tables also left. Okay. But get your tickets right away, because it's definitely going to sell out. And like I said, I have a special promotional offer for this ticket sale, and it's only happening one time, and it ends tomorrow at midnight. If you want this special ticket offer, email me at faralaurent1@gmail. Okay. So that's it for me. Again, I wanted to go a little bit deeper in the journey, but join me, for my next live, because I definitely will get deeper into the content creation, going live on LinkedIn, creating content, how I landed my gig on the Jennifer Hudson show and have been featured on multiple podcasts and articles and things like that, and how I've secured speaking engagements, and just really how I've built my business and brand, and why I want to show you how to do it as well. Okay? So it is possible. You don't have to feel like you're stuck. I know right now there's a lot going on. People are overwhelmed, people are fearful. But I always say, if you have purpose, if you have impact, you take your energy and put it into purpose and impact, stay hopeful, stay prayed up, stay blessed. And the best thing to do right now is be in community, be together, and be solution focused. All right. So again, thank you so much for watching. I hope you can join us in Tampa, Florida, March 6th and 7th. It's going to be lit. It's going to be like no other. It's a movement, not just a conference. And if you want to support, email me at faralaurent1@gmail, or just simply send me a message on LinkedIn. Thank you for watching. And if you're a new grad and you need to get a job, not just any job, but you want to get into a specialty like the ICU, the ED, L&D, it is possible. I have a free webinar this Thursday. The link is in the bio on TikTok and LinkedIn. Just click the link, or just simply go to newnursejob.com and you can sign up for this Thursday's webinar. And students are welcome. You don't have to have a business to come to this conference. You can be a student and you don't have to be a nurse. Again, all are welcome. That's it. See you guys later. Take care. Bye.